The draft lottery that just happened has changed everything for the dynasty hopeful Oklahoma City Thunder, as their ability to reload this offseason has been restricted heavily. OKC missed out on a huge chance to add even more top-flight talent to the roster. We're going to go over how Sam Presti is going to have to work his magic out of pick number 15 now in the upcoming draft after the Sixers retain their pick top 6 protected. But before we get into that, just want to say, what's up, guys? I'm Gabriel Ebersole with Thunder Digest. And before we get into it, I just want to point out real quick that 68% of you guys watching are not subscribed. We're bringing you draft content for the Thunder an hour before tip-off of Game 5 against Denver. If you want to be able to watch this before the game and not have to wait until you see it after, make sure you subscribe so you're notified right when that video goes up. Now, let's get right into the nitty-gritty of this, where we see the Philadelphia 76ers celebrating their 3rd overall pick in the upcoming draft. Now, they get the 3rd pick, obviously, which is a high pick and very, very beneficial for their franchise. But landing that in the 3 spot exactly was vital to them, as they were not protected outside of the top 6, and we would have had their pick. From what trade, you might be asking? Well, let's revisit back in 2020, November, when Al Horford, a 34th overall pick, a 2nd rounder, Micic, and a protected Philadelphia 1st round pick in 2025 was sent to the Oklahoma City Thunder in exchange for a reigning NBA champion of the Los Angeles Lakers in the bubble, Danny Green, a 1st round pick from 2017 for us, Terrence Ferguson, and Vincent Poirier. Now, a lot of this was a contract, was the main reason that drove this trade for Al Horford on our side. He only played 28 games for the Thunder before he revitalized his career in Boston. It looked like he was going to be on the way out. But nonetheless, the main proponent of this trade and value today was this top 6 protected pick that the Thunder received. This would have been for the upcoming draft, and had the ping pong balls fallen a little bit differently, OKC had another tool to revamp their roster heading into the offseason. Now, let's take a look really fast at just what was going into the draft, the odds that the Sixers had of retaining their pick versus our odds of taking it. So we look at the Sixers, they had the 5th best odds for the 1st pick. We see even odds through the first 4 picks. They had 10.5% to get any pick, chances 1 through 4. They would end up with a 3rd, so they would fall in that range. However, they would have a 2.2 and then a 19.6 for the 6th pick. We see from 7, 8, and 9, we add the 26, 8 and the fraction right there. We're looking at 35% chance that we could have taken their pick somewhere in the 7, 8, 9 range. And how is this important for our team? Yes, we're alive in the 2nd round right now, but if we lose to this series to the Nuggets, if we lose in the conference finals and we decide we need to retool coming into the next season and we want to address something in this draft, we would have had a great opportunity to draft a very team-based need coming into this draft. And what am I talking about here? Well, with picks 7 through 9, we're looking at, obviously we wouldn't have got Cooper Flag that far back, but very solid picks that we could have gotten. His teammates, Kaman Malawach and Con Knuppel, were 2 very, very possible picks for the Oklahoma City Thunder that would have bolstered their team tremendously. We look at Con Knuppel, a freshman coming out. He was on the national champion runner-up Duke Blue Devils, and he played 39 games, 14.4. Excuse me, they were the Final Four runner-ups. That's going to bother me if I don't correct that. Final Four runner-up, Duke Blue Devils, 14 a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Look at these efficiency splits from a freshman. 48%, over 40% from 3, and almost 91.5 from the free throw line. We're talking about a guy that day one would have walked in and contributed in what I believe is our biggest need to address going into the offseason, and that is we need a sharp shooter, a bona fide sharp shooter that is going to be able to put the rock into the basket every night. We really tried to hit that mark with Isaiah Joe and his consistency. I've seen a lot of games where he's just doing nothing besides shooting 0 for 4 from 3. So if we had decided that coming up short this year, we wanted to adjust shooting, we really could have wanted the Con Knuppel route had we have gotten a 7 through 9 pick from Philly. But if we had decided we wanted to do a pivot, let's say a different direction, and we wanted to take his teammate, Kaman Malawach, right? A guy who also played for Duke on the Final Four team. He had averaged 8.5 and then 6.5 boards this year. We're talking about a 7'2" paint anchor. He's a lob threat. He shot 71%. He doesn't play outside of his body on offense. He knows his role. He's going to finish. He's going to athletically finish around the basket, and that's what he's going to do. He's a solid free throw shooter for that big of a man. He's 76.6. That's something that I noted coming in because a lot of top prospects have issues with that, especially big men. And he's just an athletic, like a big paint body that we could have really had bolster minutes outside of Chet minutes, and that could have been a big addition to our team in reloading this offseason. Another option that we don't quite have. Now, we look at where we are drafting. We're drafting around the 15th pick. Now, realistically, where do I see that landing us? I see us landing maybe someone along the lines of Jace Richardson with that pick, freshman out of MSU. He had a great season. He shot 41% over from three-point line, almost 50% from the field, great from the stripe. Chipped in 12 points for a very good MSU team this year. I think Jace Richardson is a realistic target for that 15th pick that we are now possessing. But once again, this draft lottery, this really changed how we're going to be able to revamp our team this offseason in more ways than one. Because as we see, this was how the lottery fell. We saw the odds earlier, and we saw that Philadelphia had those pretty even chances in falling in. But a team that really shook up the boards, we're looking at Dallas Mavericks, obviously, at a 1.8% chance to get the top pick, and they land that. Obviously, there's the conspiracies going around. Is it rigged because the trade, did Nico Harrison get coaxed into trading Luka and coerced because he knew he would get the number one pick? I'm going to let you guys say that in the comments. I believe that there might be some validity to something like that because it's just outlandish that they would land the number one pick fresh off of a trade like that to make Nico Harrison just look like he shouldn't have been fired when there was almost zero reason he shouldn't have been outed immediately after that trade. But he gets nonetheless save his reputation off of a 1.8% chance. Seems kind of unpredictable to me. Following that, though, the number 2 pick is now owned by the San Antonio Spurs. The number 2 pick, 3-pick land is the Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey range, right? The Spurs just drafted the last 2 Rookie of the Years in Victor Wembanyama and Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle is very similar in play style to Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper is not going to be picked by the San Antonio Spurs. So that leaves Ace Bailey for the Spurs. If the Spurs want to take Ace Bailey, then he is most likely going to try to develop as the 4 alongside of Wemby playing the 5, right? You could see great potential there, no doubt. However, there is another route that people are saying that they might go, and that is because the Spurs have emerged as the favorites to trade for Giannis after the NBA draft lottery. And that is because they now have acquired a huge asset for the Bucks, the number 2 pick, as the Bucks don't own their first-round pick until the year of 2031. They've traded outright and then have pick swaps with the Blazers, and then they have for the Dame trade, and then they have the Pelicans this year as their pick swap. But nonetheless, we see the Spurs are now the favorite because they had the number 2 pick, a huge asset for Milwaukee, and they now are atop the rankings as the favorites to acquire, and they have stolen that spot from us. This was posted just hours before the draft, and we were the odds-on favorite for Giannis' next team at a 15.4% chance and plus 550 odds. The Oklahoma City Thunder were the favorite to land Giannis Antetokounmpo, a 2-time MVP and a guy who's averaged 30 and 12 for the last 4 years. This is a guy, a top flight, top 3 to 5 player, unarguably in the league. And this, I mean, we read the comments on the channel. Yes, we've talked about this recently, and we know a lot of you guys do not want to see Giannis on his team or us blow up the process that we've been developing. And yes, I'm aware, obviously, that we have a lot of picks, and we need to stay patient and garner our young talent and not just blow it all up at once. However, if we were to come up short and to have this in our back pocket as like a trump card, let's say if we lost to the Nuggets this round, we really feel like we needed to get over the hump. This really kind of falls out of our hands now into the hands of almost a 2-way race between the Rockets, who have the assets to match and who really almost seem like they need to make that step. It's more essential for them, whereas it'd be like a luxury for us at this point. So it's really almost a 2-man race between the Rockets and then the Spurs, who have just the best package to go get a win now and then try to really bolster Wemby's early career case, right? But we're looking at a guy like Giannis, right? We're talking about a guy who's averaged 30.5 this year, 12 rebounds. He's a great playmaker at 6.5 assists, 2 stocks a game from this guy, 60% from the field. Yes, he can't shoot threes, of course. We know that. And he's developed his mid-range jumper recently a little bit more. And I really, all in all, think that we've seen the comments. We say that he wouldn't fit alongside Shai. We say he wouldn't fit alongside Chet, all these guys, right? Because we're a shooting team and he's just a slasher. However, I think that the spacing that the rest of the team provides with like even a guy like J. Will on the floor or a guy like Chet on the floor who's really spacing out, that opens up the paint so much for Giannis where he could be valuable to us if we had to go this route, or if Presti felt the need to go this route if we come up short. And this now is something that we might not have control over come the offseason if we were trying to revamp this route just due to the draft lottery. The draft lottery played a really, really big impact on how we're going to construct the team going forward, right? And when we look at like trying to acquire a guy like Giannis, we're looking at contract, right? We're looking at how in the year that Giannis runs into his player option, so that'd be a 27-28 season. The last year on his current contract, we only have 2 people inked through $20 million or more through then. And we only have 3 more above $10 million on top of that. If we wanted to make that work with Giannis, and let's say we were to trade like a Chet and then like a package of 3 first-round picks, right? This is hypothetically speaking, I'm aware. We're going to trade Chet for like in 3 first-round picks. If Chet's rookie deal runs the same length as Giannis's contract, and we're going to see like within the same time span window of where then we would have to pay Chet anyway to try to keep the team together, and Dub, because they were in the same draft. Remember, we're going to have to pay Chet and Dub at the same time. And it would make sense that until then, since we're running 2 of our top 3 guys on rookie deals, all this does is just really take away our chance to go out in free agency and get somebody. Money-wise and tying us up, this is like a possibility that if we were just going to move like a Chet or something like that for the next, like that was going to be a piece for the next 2-3 years, and then try to, let's say, go all in on a guy who we know is going to be a top 5 player for the next 3 years. If we end up losing in this round of the Nuggets, or if we lose in the conference finals, and we think a big change is needed to get over the hump and the dynamic of the team, that Giannis move becomes a lot less possible now that we see the Spurs acquire this pick, because it's much more likely that the Spurs decide they don't want to go the Ace Bailey route, and that Giannis win now is a much more safe route. And that is what some of the impact that we've just seen from the lottery, those ping pong balls last night. Obviously, Mavericks fans saw the biggest impact from it, but make no mistake, the Thunder are going to see a big ripple effect down the future. Yes, we have our max number of players under contract roster set for the season, so we're going to have to really maneuver the roster and work the two-way contracts to see how we're going to use the draft picks to even begin with how many we have, especially these coming years. But this is just the beginning of a long process, and we just missed out on another key addition piece, whether it would have been in the draft for the team or it would have been in a trade for Giannis. I've been Gabriel Ebersole with Thunder Digest. I'm getting ready to go watch Thunder play Game 5 against the Denver Nuggets. Let me know what you guys think the score prediction is going to be, and let me know what you think the Thunder are going to have to do with this 15 pick in the draft now that we fell out of the contention with the Sixers pick. Let me know what you guys think. It's been Gabriel Ebersole with Thunder Digest. I'll see you guys in the next one.